Baltic becomes new front line? Massive escalation between Russia and NATO amid the Ukraine war. Russia under spotlight after Finland claims ship damaged a critical undersea cable. Damaged cable links Finland and Estonia, NATO allies on high alert. NATO nation Finland makes a shocking claim, accusing a ship coming from Russia of a possible sabotage of a critical cable. Helsinki said it is probing Russia's role on suspicion of sabotaging an undersea telecoms cable running from Finland to another NATO nation, Estonia. Finnish police said it seized a cargo vessel named Fitburg. Finland's border guard authority said the ship, sailing under the flag of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, was en route from the Russian port of St. Petersburg to Israel at the time of the incident. Helsinki Chief of Police Jari Liuku told reporters that aggravated sabotage is being investigated. The seized Fitburg ship had 14 crew members. They were from Russia, Georgia, Kazakhstan, and Azerbaijan. All crew members are now under arrest. According to LSEG data, the owner of the vessel is Fitburg Shipping Company Ltd, and the manager is Albros Shipping and Trading Limited. Estonia's Justice Ministry said a second telecoms cable connecting the country to Finland had also suffered an outage on Wednesday. Estonia's president, Alar Karis, said on X, "I'm concerned about the reported damage. Hopefully it was not a deliberate act, but the investigation will clarify." EU Technology Commissioner Henna Virkkunen wrote on X that the European Commission was closely monitoring the incident. She added, "Together with the member states and NATO, we are prepared to counter hybrid threats." The incident triggered a high alert in the Baltic Sea. Remember, the Baltic Sea shares a border with 8 NATO states, which also border Russia. This also comes amid concerns of growing threats in Europe from Russia. EU officials said that they see an increase in hybrid threats from Moscow since it launched an invasion of Ukraine. NATO has been on high alert after a string of outages of power cables, telecoms links, and gas pipelines that run along the relatively shallow seabed since Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. The US-led military bloc has boosted its presence in the Baltic with frigates, aircraft, and naval drones in recent years. Earlier this month, NATO's top military commander said the alliance must be ready to respond to these types of threats to defend its territory.
Today, President Putin is in the empire-building business again. He is throwing everything he has at Ukraine. In his distorted view of history and the world, Putin believes that our freedom threatens his stranglehold on power and that we want to destroy Russia. Putin is doing a good job of that all by himself. Russia's economy is now geared to wage war, not to make its people prosperous. Russia is spending nearly 40% of its budget on aggression, and around 70% of all machine tools in Russia are used in military production. Taxes are going up, inflation has skyrocketed, and petrol is rationed. Putin's next presidential campaign slogan should be, "Make Russia weak again." Not that he is troubled by free and fair elections, of course. And how is Putin able to continue his war against Ukraine? The answer is China. China is Russia's lifeline. China wants to prevent its ally from losing in Ukraine. Without China's support, Russia could not continue to wage this war. For example, about 80% of critical electronic components in Russian drones and other systems are made in China. So when civilians die in Kiev or Kharkiv, Chinese technology is often inside the weapons that kill them. And let's not forget that Russia also relies on North Korea and Iran in its fight against freedom, with ammunition and military equipment. So far, Putin has only played the peacemaker when it suits him, to buy time to continue his war. President Trump wants to end the bloodshed now, and he is the only one who can get Putin to the negotiating table. So let's put Putin to the test. Let's see if he really wants peace, or if he prefers the slaughter to continue. It is essential that all of us keep up the pressure on Russia and support the genuine efforts to bring this war to an end. NATO's own defences can hold for now. But with its economy dedicated to war, Russia could be ready to use military force against NATO within 5 years. Russia is already escalating its covert campaign against our societies. Russia's list of targets for sabotage is not limited to critical infrastructure, the defence industry and military facilities. We need to be ready, because at the end of this first quarter of the 21st century, conflicts are no longer fought at arm's length. Conflict is at our door. Russia has brought war back to Europe, and we must be prepared for the scale of war our grandparents and great-grandparents endured. Imagine it, a conflict reaching every home, every workplace. Destruction, mass mobilization, millions displaced, widespread suffering and extreme losses. It is a terrible thought. But if we deliver on our commitments, this is a tragedy we can prevent. NATO is here to protect 1 billion people on both sides of the Atlantic. Our mission is to protect you, your families, your friends, and your future. We cannot let down our guard, and we won't. I count on our governments to keep up with their commitments and go further and faster, because we cannot falter or fail. Listen to the sirens across Ukraine. Look at the bodies pulled from the rubble. Think of the Ukrainians who might go to sleep tonight and not wake up tomorrow. And what is standing between what's happening to them and what could happen to us? Only NATO. I have a duty as Secretary General to tell you what lies ahead if we don't act faster, invest in defence and continue our support for Ukraine. And I know this is a hard message as we head towards the festive season, when our thoughts turn to hope, light and peace. But we can take courage and strength knowing that we stand together in NATO, with determination and a knowledge that we are on the right side of history. We have a plan, we know what to do, so let us deliver. Just over 36 years ago, on a now famous night in November, NATO Secretary General Manfred Wörner jumped in his car and drove through the night to Berlin. In the rush, he forgot to tell his staff in Brussels where he was going. Manfred was heading home to Germany to join the crowds celebrating the fall of the Berlin Wall. Today, a section of the wall stands at NATO headquarters. It was a barrier to keep people in and ideas out. And now it is a monument to the force of freedom, a reminder of the power of unity and a lesson that we must stay strong, confident and steadfast. Because the dark forces of oppression are on the march again. I'm here today to tell you where NATO stands and what we must do to stop a war before it starts. And to do that, we need to be crystal clear about the threat. We are Russia's next target. And we are already in harm's way. When I became NATO Secretary General last year, I warned that what is happening in Ukraine could happen to allied countries too, that we had to shift to a wartime mindset. This year we took the big decisions to make NATO stronger. At the summit in The Hague, allies agreed to invest 5% of GDP annually in defence by 2035. We agreed to increase defence production across the alliance. And we agreed to continue our support to Ukraine. But this is not the time for self-congratulation. I fear that too many are quietly complacent. Too many don't feel the urgency. And too many believe that time is on our side. It is not. The time for action is now. Allied defence spending and production must rise rapidly. Our armed forces must have what they need to keep us safe. And Ukraine must have what it needs to defend itself.